Welcome to the place where we take the complicated, dense material you've shared with us and turn it into actionable, fascinating insight.
And today we are really getting into something that I think hits close to home for a lot of people.
It really does. We're tackling a premise that doesn't just, challenge conventional wisdom. It completely flips the script on how we understand professional failure.
Especially for high achievers.
Exactly, especially in these high-stakes, results-driven environments. We're talking about the world of, say, six-figure freelancers, founders, leaders, anyone whose success is visible.
Right. It's a pretty radical proposition, and it forces, a very uncomfortable self-reflection. I mean, traditionally, when someone's professional journey stalls out,
Yeah.
they fail to scale their business or they can't seem to get that higher level role or break into that top income bracket,
Yeah.
what do? We immediately reach for these rational sort of external explanations.
Oh, 100%. We point to market conditions, or we say, oh, I lack a specific skill, or I just need more training.
It's always a technical problem.
Always. I just need to learn this new software, or I'll be ready once I get the certification. It's a comfortable story.
It is.
Yeah.
But the source material you sent over, it cuts right through that comfortable assumption with a stunning claim. It suggests that the vast majority of professionals, they don't fail because they are unskilled.
No.
They fail, and this is the source's incredibly direct, provocative language.
Yeah.
They fail because they are addicted to being safe.
That phrase, that just stopped me in my tracks when I first read it. Addicted to being safe.
It's the gravitational center of our whole discussion today. I mean, think about it. It implies that the obstacle isn't a knowledge deficit. It's an internal resistance.
It shifts the whole locus of responsibility. It's not about what we don't know anymore.
No, not at all. It's about what we willfully won't do and why. In the service of preserving our emotional comfort, in the service of protecting our current self-image.
And this is so relevant for the learner profile. I mean, our audience, you value competence, you value preparation. So it is just so easy for us to rationalize fear as simply being smart about risk.
That's the trap.
That's the core deception we really have to dissect today. We're going to peel back those layers. We're going to look at the internal voices that govern this conflict. We're going to analyze the self-deceptive vocabulary we all use to rationalize staying put.
And ultimately, we're going to completely redefine one of the most common professional anxieties out there, imposter syndrome, as something radically different than how we usually see it.
Yeah.
So if you're out there and you're perpetually caught in that cycle of, oh, I'll launch when the website is perfect, or I'll pitch that huge client as soon as I get one more testimonial.
One more thing trapped.
The one more thing trapped, exactly. Then this exploration is, I'd say, mandatory. We are dissecting the internal mechanisms that compel us to stay small and how they disguise themselves in this really sophisticated language of strategy and ambition.
We have to learn to tell the difference between genuine caution, which is absolutely necessary, and self-sabotaging growth avoidance. They look so similar on the surface.
They do. Okay, so where do we start?
Okay, let's unpack this core internal conflict first. The source material gives us this brilliantly clear framing device for it. For the central tension between, self-preservation and self-growth, it actually personifies these forces.
Right, into two competing entities within your own mind.
Exactly.
And the source clearly identifies them as the true you and the protector. And honestly, understanding the language and the objectives of these two voices, that's the absolute foundation for dismantling this addiction to safety. If you can't identify who is speaking inside your own head, you can't choose which voice to listen to.
Okay, so let's start with the one we want to win, right? The true you. It sounds like the voice of competence, of earned capability.
It is.
It's the inner professional who has actually looked at the evidence, looked at the resume, and knows the path forward. What are the specific declarations that define this voice?
So the true you, it operates from a position of fact-based readiness. This is crucial. It's not using wishful thinking. It speaks based on projects you've already completed, skills you can demonstrably prove you have, and solid evidence that you've solved problems of similar, if not greater, complexity before.
It's the voice of data.
It's the voice of data. It's confident recognition. So it declares things like, I'm built for more. And that's not arrogance. It's an objective observation that your current role or your current environment is now actually beneath your capacity.
Right, like a plant that's outgrown its pot.
Perfect analogy. It indicates an inherent capacity that is being underutilized, and it needs a larger container to grow.
And it also, crucially, affirms the present moment. It's not about the future. It says, I can handle this. right now.
Exactly. And that declaration, again, is based on data. If you've completed a massive project for a small client, the true you recognizes you already possess the organizational skills, the technical skills, the communication skills to do that same project for a large client. It rejects those arbitrary boundary lines that the other voice tries to draw. It just says the skill set is proven, period.
It sounds like it's actively rejecting that whole procrastination loop, the perpetual student mindset.
Absolutely. That's why one of its most critical statements is, I've earned this shot. And that word earned is paramount. It validates all the time, the effort, the money you spent on skill development. It's a recognition that your competence is real, it's been paid for, and now it must be used.
It's an asset that's just sitting there depreciating.
Exactly. The true you understands that sitting on earned competence is just waste. And maybe its most challenging declaration, the one that's aimed squarely at that refinement loop trap we mentioned, is, I don't need another 12 months to prepare.
That one's tough to hear.
It's very tough. Because this voice recognizes that readiness is here, now, and any further delay is just a form of stalling. It's avoidance disguised as diligence.
Okay, so the true you is fundamentally focused on execution. It's built on a foundation of verified skill. It looks inward, assesses what's real, and then it demands expansion.
Yes.
But the moment that expansion becomes, visible, the moment you're about to step on the stage, that's when the counter voice appears.
It does. And when we pivot to the protector, the entire focus shifts. It's like a 180-degree turn. While the true you focuses on internal capability, the protector focuses outward.
On what other people think.
Totally. It reflects these deep concerns about social standing, external judgment, and just managing your public image. This is where that addiction to safety really begins to manifest.
And that's where the high-stakes risk comes in, right? Especially for someone aiming to be, say, a six-figure freelancer. Moving up means more visible contracts. It means larger failure points, a wider audience. The protector seems way less concerned with your ability to do the job.
Oh, much less.
And far more concerned with what happens if I fail publicly.
Precisely. The protector operates almost entirely in hypotheticals.
Yeah.
And they're all rooted in social and emotional risk management. Its questions are fear-based, and they're really specific. Things like, what if they find out I'm not enough?
Ah, the classic, the fear of being exposed as a fraud.
It's that classic vulnerability anxiety, the fear of exposure. It's not worried about whether you can deliver the code or write the report. It's worried that the client or the public or your boss is going to discover some fundamental underlying flaw in your character or your intellect.
And then there's, what if I screw this up, which is, the fear of performance failure. And we often confuse that with an actual lack of skill. The emotional cost of a visible attempt can just feel like it outweighs the confidence we have in our capability.
Yes. And then you see the escalation into pure social fears. What if I get judged? And that fear of judgment is so corrosive. Because in a world that's driven by social proof and online reviews and LinkedIn posts, judgment can feel like a genuine threat to your future viability.
It feels existential.
It really does. And then the statement that truly signals the depth of this safety addiction. What if this is the one time I actually fail publicly? Notice the key word there, publicly. The protector isn't worried about the small private errors you make every day while you're learning.
No, it's terrified of the visible, undeniable consequence. The one that threatens its carefully managed image.
That's the whole game.
So the conflict then is... It's just so clearly defined. It's competence versus comfort. The true you is all about earned capability, and the protector is purely about image management and avoiding public embarrassment.
And that is the essential insight we have to internalize from this source material. It states this so explicitly. You do not listen to the protector because it is right. You don't listen to it because it's providing some fact-based advice about genuine, dangerous risks.
No.
You listen to it because it provides emotional cover. It provides a rationale.
Okay, here's where it gets really, really interesting and, frankly, profoundly cynical, as the source materials emphasize. Why do we consistently listen to a voice we intellectually know isn't factually correct about our capabilities? What's the payoff?
The payoff is huge. We listen to it because it allows us to stay small with dignity.
Oof.
Yeah. This is the core, uncomfortable truth that defines growth avoidance. The protector isn't guarding your portfolio or your bank account. It's guarding your ego. It's guarding your current, safe self-image. It's an incredibly powerful tool for rationalizing inertia while maintaining the illusion of potential.
Staying small with dignity. Okay, let's unpack that phrase extensively because that suggests a level of self-awareness that is almost Machiavellian. It's like, we know we're avoiding the jump, but we need a narrative. We need a story that makes the avoidance look like wisdom, not cowardice.
Yes.
We need to save face, both internally to ourselves and externally to our peers.
We absolutely do. I mean, think about the ethical tightrope walk that's involved there. If you openly admit, I am not taking on this $200,000 contract because I am terrified of the visibility and the possibility of a public misstep.
You sound weak. It damages your professional reputation, sure, but it also damages your self-esteem.
Completely. However, if you say, I am pausing on that opportunity because I am strategically refining my niche to ensure maximum market penetration next quarter.
You sound brilliant. You maintain the image of the highly competent, strategic, but maybe just overly cautious professional.
Exactly. And you get the ultimate compromise, right? You avoid the effort, you avoid the high risk, you avoid the potential judgment that comes with a big leap. But you still get to believe, and more importantly, have the outside world believe, that you simply chose not to jump for these profound strategic reasons.
You get the comfort of invisibility without the shame of admitting fear.
And for a professional who identifies as a high IQ learner, that dignity is non-negotiable. It's everything.
So the source implies that the most damaging form of procrastination isn't, watching Netflix.
Not even close.
It's performing high-status, dignified avoidance. It's being busy doing things that look smart but achieve nothing.
That's spot on. The protector helps you construct a fortress around your current identity. It allows you to perpetually claim competence without ever having to risk proving it publicly. Because proving it would, by definition, require you to move past potential and into performance.
And the consequence of never risking that exposure is the protection of this fragile dignity.
That's the payoff.
This leads us directly into how we communicate the self-deception. If we are addicted to safety and we need dignity, then we have to invent a highly sophisticated vocabulary to make our inaction sound like a sophisticated strategy.
Yes, this linguistic reframing. This is the core mechanism. This is how people stay stuck, particularly people with high intellectual capacity. It's how you transform an emotional feeling like pure fear into what seems like a rational plan-like strategy. We use language as a shield to deceive ourselves, first and foremost, and then others, about our actual safety-driven motive.
Okay, let's look closely at the specific redefinitions the source material highlights. Starting with hesitation. We call hesitation strategy. And this is it's pervasive in business environments.
It's the most common form of professional stalling, by far. I mean, think about it. If you are endlessly analyzing market trends, researching competitor behavior, planning the perfect launch sequence, and execution is perpetually delayed.
It feels like work. It feels productive.
It does. The true you would call that paralyzing hesitation. But the protector convinces you it's strategy. Strategy implies deep thought and foresight and a disciplined approach. It often involves complex financial models or risk assessments. It sounds professional. It sounds diligent and serious.
Okay, give us a concrete example. How does this play out for a potential six-figure freelancer?
Okay, so imagine a brand designer, a really good one. She knows her portfolio is strong enough to charge premium rates. Her true you says, start quoting $15,000 for this type of project. Simple, direct,
That's scary.
terrifying. So the protector panics and says, what if they say no? What if they laugh? That will just crush my confidence. So the protector intervenes with a brilliant plan. Wait, it says. The real strategy here is to spend the next 3 months building an entirely new, complex tier system. And we need to conduct a detailed competitor pricing analysis across 3 continents. And then we'll create a bespoke 50-page pricing guide to send to prospects.
And all of that feels so productive. You're busy, you're professional, you're creating assets.
But you have successfully delayed the actual risk, the simple moment of asking for the high rate for 90 days, all under the guise of rigorous strategic preparation.
Meanwhile, the calendar keeps flipping pages. And the crucial execution, the bold request, it never happens. Or it happens so late, the opportunity is gone.
That's the loop.
Okay, let's move to the next one. Fear. The source says we call fear discernment.
Ah, yes, discernment. It sounds so wise, doesn't it? So mature. It suggests good judgment. If you are afraid of a project because it's complex or it's difficult or it features a demanding high-profile client,
The kind of client that can make your career.
the exact kind, the protector assures you that you're not afraid. Oh no. You are merely discerning that the risk-reward ratio is unfavorable, or that the client's demand signals some underlying organizational chaos you're wisely avoiding.
So instead of being honest and saying, I'm afraid this project will expose a weakness I have, you say, I have discerned that this client relationship lacks the necessary foundational stability for a successful partnership.
Exactly. It's perfect. You transform a subjective emotional state, fear, into an objective, rational, critical assessment of external circumstances.
Mm,
Unfavorable timing, poor fit, high volatility. And you get to walk away from a high-stakes, high-reward situation and still be seen as the wise professional who knew better.
right. Rather than the timid professional who is just scared.
And that reframing protects the self-image perfectly.
Okay, and the final one. Calling hiding humility. This one feels particularly insidious to me because humility is a genuine virtue. We're taught to value it.
It is, and that's what makes it the ultimate emotional weapon for the protector. If you refuse to showcase your talents, or you refuse to speak up in a high-level meeting where you know you have the crucial data point that everyone's missing,
Or you don't apply for that significant promotion that, deep down is a perfect fit for you.
you are hiding.
Yeah.
You are actively avoiding visibility. But the protector frames this as humility. It tells you that you're being careful not to overstep, or you're making space for others to contribute.
It's couched in this language of generosity and self-awareness.
But in a professional context, especially in leadership or entrepreneurial roles, visibility is currency. It's not ego, it's how you get things done. So by framing the avoidance of that currency as humility, you are literally sacrificing your career progression in the name of a social virtue.
But the real consequence every single time is that you remain out of sight.
Out of sight, and therefore protected from both criticism and responsibility. The individual achieves comfortable invisibility under the cloak of moral superiority. This is the linguistic reframing. It's the protector's masterpiece. It allows you to genuinely believe you are acting ethically or strategically, when in reality you are merely maintaining your immediate emotional comfort zone.
And it all synthesizes into this one unified goal, which you mentioned earlier, comfortable invisibility. The consequence of all this comprehensive self-deception is that you would rather be comfortably invisible, operating well within your competence threshold, than visibly exposed at your true, higher level.
And that word comfortably is so vital. There is a deep, soothing pleasure in invisibility, especially when you're highly competent. Because if you stay invisible, your potential is unlimited. It's infinite.
Ah, that's it.
The moment you step forward and you deliver a result, that potential crystallizes into a single, measurable data point, a thing. And that thing is subject to scrutiny.
That's the real appeal for our learner profile, isn't it? By remaining invisible, by being the one who could run the company, the one who could charge 6 figures, you avoid the high stakes of public performance. And you get to maintain the illusion of this vast intellectual potential.
You get to keep the belief that if you tried, you would succeed spectacularly.
And by staying hidden, you never have to put that potential to the test. And therefore, you never risk shattering that beautiful illusion.
And the dignity we talked about earlier. That is the massive price you pay. It's the cost of never having to prove the potential exists. It's a low-stakes existence where you can perpetually claim competence without ever having to risk visible failure.
But the maintenance of this comfortable invisibility, it often requires highly sophisticated, time-consuming action. Which brings us to the refinement loop trap. People listening to The Protector don't just sit still on the couch.
No, they are very busy. They busy themselves with activities that feel incredibly productive, but are fundamentally delaying mechanisms.
This is the intellectual equivalent of running on a treadmill. You're sweating, you're working hard, but you're not going anywhere.
Perfect metaphor. They step back to get another qualification, another plan, or another year of refinement. These are not necessary steps. They are high-status distractions.
Let's focus on those specific actions. What does this look like in the real world for professionals who are already high performers? Because it's not like they're lazy.
Not at all. It's the seasoned software developer who decides to take the advanced certification in a programming language they already use expertly every single day just to feel more ready.
Or the 6-figure coach who delays launching their premium mastermind group because they feel they need to write a 300-page auxiliary ebook first.
Yes. Or the entrepreneur who keeps running excessive A/B tests on their website copy, delaying their launch by 6 months, even though the current conversion rate is perfectly viable and profitable.
It's this underlying belief that success requires 0 defects, and that flawlessness can only be achieved through endless preparation.
But the crucial insight here, according to the source, is why they do it. This pursuit of more preparation is done not because the individual actually needs the qualification or the detailed plan, The true you has already verified the qualifications. It's done because jumping would destroy the fragile version of who they think they are.
Ah, okay. So the preparation itself becomes a sophisticated protective shell. The fragile version is the person whose identity is defined by their potential and their safety.
Exactly. Think about the two outcomes of jumping. If they succeed at this next visible level, they have to become the person who deals with success. That means higher stakes, greater responsibility, increased public scrutiny, a whole new identity.
And if they fail,
If they fail, they lose their dignity and they shatter that illusion of unlimited potential. So the protector is fighting for the survival of the old self, the one whose entire identity is defined by avoiding failure.
so they protect the old safe self instead of building the real capable self. The refinement loop is just a delay tactic. It's designed to preserve the status quo identity, and it sacrifices genuine progress for perceived security.
That's it.
Which makes this next section so critical because if the protector is the voice of safety, then the most common signal of growth imposter syndrome must be completely reinterpreted.
This is where the source material gets the most confronting, I think, because it directly challenges the established, almost comfortable narrative that has grown up around imposter syndrome.
We've almost made it into a cozy diagnosis.
We have. We've made it into a comfortable diagnosis that allows us to retreat when we're faced with a challenge, gives us permission to hide.
So let's hit that direct and challenging quote from the source. It says, "Your imposter syndrome is not proof you're unready." That statement alone must be deeply, deeply triggering for a lot of people who have used it as a shield.
It forces a complete psychological inversion. If imposter syndrome is generally experienced as, I feel inadequate, therefore I must retreat to prepare more, the source states the exact opposite. It argues that your feeling of being an imposter is actually proof that you're standing at the edge of the next identity upgrade.
An identity upgrade. That is such a powerful conceptual shift, especially for the learner who is always seeking ways to improve. We think of imposter syndrome as a warning sign, a red light telling us to stop, review, and retreat.
Right.
But here we're saying it's a signal to advance. It's a green light.
It means that your actual competence, what your true YU knows for a fact, has already outpaced your emotional self-perception. It's outpaced what the protector is comfortable with. You're already qualified for the next level, but your emotional framework is panicking about the resulting transformation that stepping into that level requires.
This is the crucial conceptual leap. I think we need to dedicate some time to contrasting the task-based fear versus the identity-based fear, because that is the true definition of the upgrade.
Yes, let's break that down with an example. Let's say you're a high-performing manager at a company and you're suddenly promoted to vice president.
Big leap.
Big leap. The task-based fear is, can I manage a $50 million budget? The true you looks at your track record and says, yes, I managed a $20 million budget perfectly. This is just a scaling exercise. The principles are the same.
But the identity-based fear is different.
The identity-based fear, that's the source of the protector's panic, is, will I now be seen as the VP? Will I have to talk to the CEO every week? Will I be the one who has to take the blame if the whole division fails? I am comfortable being the manager. I don't know if I want to be the VP.
So the anxiety isn't about whether you can physically perform the new duties. It's about the person you have to become to perform those duties consistently. And it's about the permanent loss of the old, comfortable self.
Exactly.
The fear isn't about giving the presentation. It's about becoming the type of person who gives major, visible presentations.
Precisely. If you successfully give that presentation, you instantly shift your identity. You're no longer the low-stakes, safe professional. You are now the high-stakes, visible leader. Your anxiety, your imposter syndrome is just the old, small, fragile self panicking about its impending obsolescence. It's transition pain. It's growing pains that we have mislabeled as a skill deficit.
Wow. So the moment you feel imposter syndrome, you have actually already crossed the threshold of competence, and the protector is just desperately trying to pull you back to safety before the world notices that you've changed.
And this leads directly to the decision point, the fork in the road that separates those who grow exponentially from those who stay stuck. The source notes that most people step back at this critical moment of identity upgrade.
And stepping back, that means immediately falling back into the refinement loop, doesn't it?
Instantly.
Getting more certifications, creating a new, more perfect plan, anything to delay the actual identity transformation.
Precisely. The choice at that moment is profound. It is the protection of the fragile version of the current self, the safe, anonymous, self-prioritized, over the emergence of the real, capable self that demands visibility and risk.
So they sacrifice long-term growth, they sacrifice high-impact potential, the six-figure path for short-term emotional security.
Every time.
And this shifts our focus to the long-term stakes. I mean, if your entire operational strategy is optimized for comfortable invisibility and maintaining dignity, you are fundamentally sacrificing your leadership potential. You're sacrificing your legacy.
Absolutely. The source forces us to confront this fact that legacy is not built by the most cautious or the most prepared person in the room. Caution, when it's defined as prioritizing ego safety over necessary impact, it guarantees stagnation.
So legacy, in this context, is built by the individual who makes a decisive, irrevocable choice. The choice to break the negotiation with the protector entirely and just take the leap.
And this brings us to the ultimate powerful declaration that's provided in the source material. It's like a mental mantra that's required for finally breaking free. And it is. I'm done negotiating with the version of me that's built to survive instead of led.
That is a staggering statement because it formalizes the division between the two operating mindsets we've been tracking this whole time, the survival mindset and the leadership mindset. We need to analyze the profound difference between those two modes of operation and why they are, at their core, mutually exclusive.
Okay, so the survival mindset is inherently defensive. Its primary focus is on minimizing loss, avoiding risk, and maintaining the current safe status quo. This is the operating system of comfortable invisibility. It prioritizes preservation above all else. It makes decisions based on the question, what is the least scary choice?
And honestly, just living in that survival mode sounds exhausting. Always anticipating threats, always analyzing the possibility of failure, constantly on guard.
It is incredibly draining. It leads to decision paralysis because every single choice is filtered through this lens of potential negative consequence to the self-image. Now contrast that with the leadership mindset. The leadership mindset is inherently offensive in the military sense of the word.
Right, proactive.
It is focused on maximizing impact. It accepts calculated risks as necessary costs of achieving scale. And it actively drives change and transformation.
And crucially, leadership requires visible exposure, which the survival mindset fundamentally rejects. You cannot be an impactful six-figure freelancer demanding high rates and delivering high value while you're hiding in the back room.
Their goals are diametrically opposed. You cannot maximize your professional impact while you are simultaneously trying to minimize every conceivable risk to your fragile ego. It's impossible. To lead, you have to accept that visible failure is an occasional necessary consequence of operating at your true capability level. The negotiation has to end because you are literally negotiating against your own future success.
The source material, as we've kind of discussed throughout, it adopts this highly confrontational, almost aggressive style. It doesn't offer gentle, therapeutic advice.
Right at all.
It acts as a direct challenge. It forces immediate self-assessment.
And that confrontation is its effectiveness. It functions as a mirror. If you read this material and you feel discomfort, it means it has successfully circumvented the protector's sophisticated rationale. It has gone straight for the truth, and the truth is uncomfortable.
The source finishes with that powerful trio of challenges aimed directly at the emotional response of the reader. It says, if this annoyed you, good. If this triggered you, better. And if this lit something up, you already know what's next. Why is resistance annoyance or being triggered? Why is that actually a positive sign in this context?
Well, annoyance signals that the material has successfully poked a hole in your carefully constructed, dignified rationale for staying put. It challenges your strategy directly. If you feel annoyed, it means the logic holds up, but you don't like the implications it has for your own life and your own choices.
So the logic is sound, but the conclusion is inconvenient.
Very inconvenient. And being triggered, that's an even more powerful response.
That sounds like a powerful response.
Triggering is even better because it signals maximum internal resistance. It means the true you recognizes the truth. The competence is verified, the leap is necessary. But the protector is fighting back with its absolute maximum defensive force. It confirms the internal conflict is real, it's high stakes, and it's happening right now. The protector knows its life is in danger.
And that final line, if this lit something up, you already know what's next. That's the ultimate call to action. It acknowledges that you, the listener, already possess the necessary competence. The path forward is simple. It's execution, not more preparation.
It means the intellectual negotiation is already over. The true you has won the argument, and now it is purely a test of physical courage and behavioral commitment. It is the final challenge to that addiction to safety.
Okay, let's synthesize the core takeaways here, because this material offers a really powerful, concise, and incredibly actionable framework for change, particularly for those people looking to reach that next level of professional scale.
The primary overriding insight for the high-performing professional is this. The true obstacle to your next level of success, whether it's scaling to a six-figure income or achieving that leadership role, is rarely skill. It is the overwhelming ego-driven desire for safety, which we successfully costume and market as competence or strategy.
And the essential first step in dismantling this addiction is just hypervigilance about the linguistic deception. We need to instantly flag that internal narrative. We have to ask, am I translating fear into discernment? Am I translating hesitation into strategy? Am I translating hiding into humility?
Yes, because those are the deceptive tools of the survival self. They have to be immediately recognized for what they are and then discarded.
And finally, we have to accept the radical redefinition of imposter syndrome.
We have to. Stop treating it as a stop sign, warning you that you're inadequate. It is in fact a directional signpost. It's a GPS for your growth. It confirms that you are standing at the threshold of the next necessary identity upgrade. It is proof of readiness, not a lack of it. It means you are poised to leave the comfortable old version of yourself behind.
This has been an incredibly challenging exploration, I think, but a vital one for anyone feeling perpetually stuck in that refinement loop, afraid to take the jump that their skills already justify. We've defined the negotiation, we've analyzed the mindsets, and now, well, now it's up to you, the listener, to end it.
The goal has to shift decisively, from surviving professionally to leading and creating and expanding.
So, here's the final provocative thought for you to carry forward. Something to challenge the protector's logic in those quiet moments of decision-making. If your current strategy is perfectly optimized, and by that I mean you feel perfectly safe and dignified, to protect the fragile, small version of yourself, what specific, measurable, and highly visible action would the real, capable version of you take tomorrow that the fragile version is currently hiding from?
Find that action.
Identify that personal negotiation, end it, and jump.
Thank you for allowing us to unpack this material for you today and for bringing us such a deeply challenging set of sources.
Until the next time, keep challenging those assumptions and stop negotiating with your true you.